is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Underdog Podcast. Today we have the NFC West draft grades video. Hope you guys have been watching the rest of the NFC as we conclude today. The AFC will probably be out next week. I'm traveling home tomorrow and Saturday, and then Sunday's Mother's Day, so got to spend some time with my mom. I haven't seen her in a while, so I think I'm just going to be doing them next week. So this will be the last video in this setup for the room. So I will be home after that, so you'll see a new setup. So don't be surprised when you see that, as I will be home for the summer. But let's get right into this video, starting with the Arizona Cardinals. So that first round pick they used to trade for Hollywood Brown. This makes a little bit more sense to me now that DeAndre Hopkins is getting suspended for the first 6 games of the season for PED use, as of right now at least, which was super surprising to me. So I don't know if I think he's going to appeal it. I don't know if it will get reduced or, withdrew or whatnot. So Hollywood Brown comes in here. He's a nice rapport already with Kyler Murray, as Kyler was his college quarterback. So that's good connection there. At first, this didn't make any sense. Like, you got Hollywood in a third for a first, and I was like, that's a pretty decent haul, but, it just didn't make any sense to me, why they would do that. And at this point, Hollywood was probably better than any receiver you were going to get, so I understand it, but it's still, not ideal for the Arizona Cardinals, in my opinion. And the 23rd pick, they take Trey McBride from Colorado State. So don't get me wrong, I love Trey McBride. I think he was my tight end 1. I had him as a first to a second round grade, I believe. But it doesn't really make any sense for the Cardinals because they just signed Zach Ertz to an extension, and they brought back Max Williams, who was really, really good for them when, in the beginning of 2021, until he got hurt, and then they traded for Zach Ertz. He was a really big part of their offense. So this move doesn't really make any sense, especially since McBride doesn't really fit in this scheme. he's more of an inline tight end, and he's not really the split out type. I would have expected them to take an Isaiah Likely here or something like that, because it makes more sense, but I don't really know. McBride does give Murray another weapon, but how much is he going to play the first couple of years? I don't really know. And then you have Cameron Thomas here from San Diego State. This is a fine pick. I had him as a round 4 or 5 guy. It's going to be interesting to see how they utilize him, because I think he's similar to a Zach Allen, who they tried to play inside, and it didn't work out, and Zach Allen was a better prospect than Cam Thomas was, so I wonder if they're going to have him do that. If not, I think he'll be an immediate impact in the run game, out on the edge, and he will, he has a lot of guys there to mentor him, so it adds bodies to this edge room that certainly needed them, with only Marcus Golden and Devin Kennard there, really. So it's a fine pick. And then Myjai Sanders from Cincinnati. I really, really like this pick. I know he's small. He's 6'2 or 6'3, 235, 240. But he plays with incredible motor. He has great bend around the edge, really good speed. Doesn't play with any power just because he's not really big enough to do it, but he uses his hands very well. He actually holds up in the run game very well for a 240-pound player on the edge. He's really good at utilizing his hands in the run game to make plays, and he's just a high-motor, high-effort player, so he's able to make more plays in the run than you would think. I really like this pickup for Arizona. Add some youth in there, and it's kind of similar to what Hassan Reddick was when they had him there, except Reddick was a little bit bigger, but I think Sanders can come in and fill that role, at least be rotational pass rusher on third down to start with, but I think he could play on early downs. I didn't see as much problems with his run defense tape as I did some other people. And then they take Kiante Ingram, who's going to be their Chase Edmonds replacement, guy that can catch the football out of the backfield, has some juice running the football. there was a lot of mixed opinions on Kiante Ingram. I thought this was around where he was going to go. It was going to be a day 3 guy. I was a little bit higher on him because I think that he has really good vision, and this is like the perfect scheme fit for him, honestly. So that's a really good pick in my opinion. I have it graded as a B. I do think that James Conner, also with his health issues history, I think this is also a very good pickup. And then later in the 6th round, they grabbed Lucida Smith, the guard from Virginia Tech. I also thought this was a good pick. Lucida Smith has some upside. Don't know if he'll start for them right away, but definitely a starter upside. He's got a good anchor, is mobile for a dude that big. Just got to develop more of an anchor in the pass protection and better pass pro technique. But he is a smaller guard at 6'3", which is going to help Kyler Murray. Him being that short, it will help him, see over the offensive line better so he can make throws in the middle of the field. So that was a good pick, in my opinion. And then Christian Matthew, DB from Valdosta State. Don't really know much about him, so just graded as a C. And then they grabbed Jesse Lucida here later in the 7th round. Another developmental edge guy. Really liked his tape. I like this pick for Arizona that needs youth at the edge position. High motor guy, just super raw, even more raw than Majai Sanders was. So, let's hope that they can develop Jesse Lucida. They've been able to develop Hassan Reddick, Marcus Golden in the past, so we'll see what they can do there. And then they grabbed Marquis Haynes late here in the 7th round. I also thought this was a very good pick. I thought he would go even 4th round tops. I mean, I had him as a 5th to a 6th or a 4th to a 5th round grade, so this is a really, really good pickup. I'm surprised they didn't go Hayes before Smith with that Big 12 bias, especially, that Oklahoma bias that, Cliff Kingsbury has coaching at A&M and when they were in the Big 12 and Texas Tech. So that's a really good pickup. He's another shorter guard, really good, powerful run blocker. Again, just needs more time to develop his pass break technique. But I think both him and Lucida Smith could turn into starters one day for this team, as they have Pugh and Will Hernandez right now. You groom these two into being your long-term starters. Overall for Arizona, I think it was a C. Nothing too special. I mean, I just think their early picks were wasted. The Hollywood Brown trade was a good move. But then, the Trey McBride, Cam Thomas pick, I thought that they could have been utilized better. Their middle round picks were good, and then their later round picks were good to great as well. So, there's some good with the bad there. I just think that their early round picks could have been utilized better, in my opinion. And then we have the team that just hates draft picks in the Los Angeles Rams, who did not have a pick till the end of the 3rd round, where they take Logan Bruss, the offensive lineman from Wisconsin, has flexibility to play guard and tackle. So I really like this pick for them, especially with Blythe leaving, and, they brought back, what's his face, the guard that's really not great at all. I don't know why they brought him back, but the name will come to me eventually, but he could be probably an immediate upgrade over him. Wisconsin really knows how to churn out offensive linemen, and Bruss is no exception. He's going to be a really, really good player for them there. Good run blocker, again, which is what Wisconsin's really good at, is churn out run blockers, but is going to need some work in that pass pro. I think his kick slide is not great, and his hand placement's a little all over the place, but I think the Rams can get that out of him. And then Jacoby Durant here, the slot corner from South Carolina State, really, really good pick for the Rams here. I think he's, similar to, guys they've had there in the past, like Troy Hill, David Long, so I think this is a good pickup. I think you needed somebody outside of Jalen Ramsey that could play in the slot, and Jacoby Durant can do that. He's a physical player, really long, lengthy. I think that he would do great there in press coverage. I think his zone technique is adequate, but he's going to need some work there. And his man skills are a little bit worse than his zone skills, but I think he can really flourish in this system. Just gonna need better, cues in zone. And then you take Kyron Williams from Notre Dame. I was not a big fan of Kyron Williams. This is a round where I thought he should go. Just slow, but he has really good vision. I don't know how he's going to fit in this run scheme. And I don't know how many reps he's going to get to with Cam Akers there, Darrell Henderson Jr. there. I don't think Sony Michel's been re-signed yet, so he's a free agent right now. But Kyron Williams can come in there, at least be a change of pace back for you. I like him in the receiving game, so he's probably going to be their third down back to start with. So that's a good pickup. I mean, I got no problems with it, adding running back depth for the Rams. So that's a good pick. And then they pick up Quentin Lake, which I thought was a phenomenal pick. Needed to go to a split safety system like this, but he's probably the smartest safety in the draft. Him and Verone McKinley are probably 1A, 1B, but Quentin Lake's really, really smart. Great ball skills, great range at free safety. Is an okay tackler. So he's not going to offer you much in run defense, but I think he can come out there and be at minimum a third safety in like dime packages or big nickel or stuff like that. If not, he can come in there and could potentially start for this team as well. Be a nice 2-high look, and then use, bring the strong safety down into the box. I'm drawing a blank of who that is right now because Johnson left, but I think this is a really good pickup for the Rams. Gives them some youth in their secondary and brings a guy that's smart, versatile, and fits their scheme really well. And then they draft Darian Kendrick here. I was fine with this pick. Thought he was more of a UDFA guy, but I mean, it's fine. They needed more bodies in that corner room with losing Darius Williams, with losing some other guys in there. So I'm fine with this pickup. It's not bad for them. Same with Daniel Hardy from Montana State. Shout out Big Sky, but it's fine. I mean, they needed more bodies, I think, in there in the IDL. They had some guys that were injury prone, like Greg Gaines was hurt a lot last season. I think Leonard Floyd was dinged up at one point, so gives them more bodies that they can throw at people in the run game. So I'm fine with this pick. Russ Yeast from Kansas State, I think, brings them a different type of safety from Quentin Lake. He's more of a box guy, guarding tight ends, like an extra linebacker, stuff like that. He could even play linebacker for them if he wants to put on a couple extra pounds. Had some good tape at Kansas State, but I think right away he's going to be competing more for special teams reps. And then AJR Curry, shout out Olentangy Liberty. It's my high school. So I think he's the first player drafted from our high school, so that's pretty cool. Out of Michigan State. So he's a developmental tackle there. Don't know if he's going to make the team, but with Whitworth gone, I think, there's some spots opened up there for a swing tackle or for some tackle depth. So he's got the chance of making the team. He's got, solid technique. I think he needs to build more of an anchor, and then he's kind of a liability in the run game, but we'll see how that turns out. So my final grade for the Rams here's a B+. Wasn't overly fond of any of their draft picks other than like Quentin Lake, but I think they made some solid moves. They added some depth to some areas where they needed to add depth, like corner and safety, and then an offensive line as well. So I think overall it was a good draft for the Rams. I mean, nothing to complain about for them per se. And then we have the San Francisco 49ers, who also did not have a first-round pick. So they picked at the end of the second round, and they stole Drake Jackson, who I could not believe was there at the end of the second round for him. Going to be a really nice fit there for the 49ers. And doesn't have to play right away either, as they have Bosa, they got D Ford, they got Arik Armstead, they got all those guys there. Drake Jackson's got a lead upside. He was really talked about his freshman year as being a legitimate first-round pick, top 10 guy. And then he just kind of never really developed at USC. But he does have, sky-the-limit potential. I mean, this dude's still only 20 years old. He doesn't have to play right away. And San Francisco got a lot out of guys last year like Arden Key, Samson Ebukam, really just throwing bodies out there. They were low-key one of the best pass rushes at the end of the season last year. So you add a guy with the talent that Drake Jackson has into that room, it's just only going to get better. Really like Drake Jackson. He's super long, knows how to use his hands. He actually has really good counter moves. It's just sometimes he fails to utilize speed to power, which I think Nick Bosa will be really, really good at teaching him that. And he's okay in the run game. I think he can get some more play strength there to be able to play on early downs. But at minimum, right now, he's going to be a rotational pass rusher with elite upside there for the 49ers. And then the next pick, Ty Davis Price, I just didn't understand this pick to begin with, taking a running back this early, because you've had so many guys that you found undrafted, late round guys that have worked out, like Raheem Mostert, who's just been unable to stay healthy, but when he's on the field, he's the fastest player in the NFL, arguably with the ball in his hands. Jeff Wilson, who, again, has also been banged up, but when he's given his opportunities, looked really good. Their 6th-round pick last year, Elijah Mitchell, kind of broke out. And then other guys that have been there, like Matt Breida, has been there and done really well. Trey Sermon, they drafted in the 3rd round last year, who just was in the doghouse the whole season. So if they wanted somebody who was more of a pass catcher, I guess I get it, because Ty Davis Price is a really good scat back, but why the hell didn't you just take him in the 6th or 7th round when you were supposed to take him? This is probably the worst pick in the draft, especially with all of the running backs on the board besides James Cook, Kenneth Walker, and Breece Hall. Why didn't you, if you were going to take a running back here, why didn't you take a Dameon Pierce or, I don't know, a Robinson Jr. or somebody like that? I really don't understand this pick from San Francisco. And then Danny Gray from SMU I thought was a good pick. Bring some more speed into that room that they're missing. I think he's a bigger bodied, Brandon Ayuk with speed. So Kyle Shanahan looks for that in their receivers, guys that are good on crossing routes, good with the ball after the catch, and that's what Danny Gray is. Gives you a vertical threat as well. So I really like this pickup for the 49ers. And then they stole Spencer Burford in the 4th round, who I thought had a late 2nd round grade on. This dude was a 4 or 5-star prospect coming out of high school and chose to play at UTSA. I don't know the reasoning for that, but he did. So yes, he played at a lower level of competition. However, he was very, very good. Really good run blocker. Going to need some work in pass pro, but I think he's the instant replacement for Trent Williams, because you don't know how long he's going to play. Trent Williams can already, he's the best run blocker in the NFL at the tackle position, so he can immediately transfer those skills to Burford and also help him in his pass pro technique. So a really good mentor there. Really like that process for the San Francisco 49ers. And then Samuel Womack, decent pick here out of Toledo. They did lose Kyron Williams. They've lost Akella Witherspoon. They've lost a lot of corners in the past couple of years, so adding to that room. He's long, lengthy. I think he fits their scheme. Got good zone instincts. I think he's just a little bit too aggressive at times, and sometimes he gets lost looking at the quarterback, and then his man will run right by him. Then you had Nick Zakel here from Fordham. Didn't really like this pick. I saw him more as an undrafted free agent. I just thought he was slow and sluggish at the interior offensive line position. And then he doesn't have the foot speed or play strength really to play tackle. So he really is going to need a lot of work. He's going to be a big project there for them at interior offensive line. And then Kalia Davis was a really, really good pick for me. The reason why he fell so far is he's played 6 games since 2019, which is crazy. But when he's on the field, he is very, very good. He is stout against the run. He's a people mover. He's going to, take up gaps. I really, really love, him in the run game. He's able to shoot gaps and make plays for a guy that's that big. It's really, really incredible, the amount of plays he makes. Just fell due to big injury concerns, and it is a really big concern of whether or not he can stay healthy. But if he can, he's going to be a really nice asset for this 49ers team, stopping the run in the interior. he does. I don't know if he offers anything as a pass rusher, maybe just as a pocket pusher type guy, but that's not the end of the world for them. And then with the very next pick, they take Tariq Castro Fields out of Penn State, which I could not believe he was still around. I thought he was an early day 3 guy, so really good pickup. Really nice fit in this zone system. He's got really good ball skills. He just sticks to people. He has man versatility as well. San Francisco doesn't really run a lot of man, but he does have that versatility. Zone coverage turns into man anyways, so he had a bunch of pass breakups last season. The only guy that really gave him fits was Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson gave a lot of people fits, so I don't know how bad that really is. I think that Castro Fields doesn't have to play right away here, which is good as well because they, San Francisco brought in Charvarius Ward, they brought back Jason Verrett. So Tariq Castro Fields is probably going to be like a dime guy to start with, and work his way up into more reps. But I really like this pick for a team that has really struggled to find corners and has struggled at depth at the position. To land Tariq Castro Fields in the 6th round is really good value. And then my guy Brock Purdy getting drafted at Mr. Irrelevant. Definitely was a draftable player. Purdy was a multi-year starter at Iowa State, broke a ton of records. I think the one weakness with him really is arm strength. He just doesn't really have an arm. It's similar to like Mac Jones last year where he doesn't have a good arm. And he just tries to be the hero way too much sometimes. He thinks he can make every play. And, I think there's a classic example of we were playing TCU, and he's getting lassoed down for a sack, and he just throws the ball up, and there happens to be a TCU guy standing right across from him. So it's an easy interception and pick six. It's just take the sack. So that's the gripes with Brock Purdy, but he's a field general. He's a smart player. He knows how to run the offense. He can read defenses. Again, sometimes he tries to make too many plays, but I genuinely don't think there's much difference between a Purdy and a Nick Mullins, a CJ Beathard, or even Jimmy Garoppolo, who they, just kind of have them game manage the offense. They don't have them do too much. I think Brock Purdy, if Trey Lance were to ever get hurt and Jimmy Garoppolo's off this team, and Brock Purdy comes in, I think genuinely he could be a guy that becomes the next Nick Mullins, the next Nick Foles, where he gets a big payday just because he goes in and does his job really well for San Francisco and is in the league a long time as either a high-end backup or a super low-end starter. But we talked about Brock Purdy potentially being a first-round pick, going into the 2020 season, and it just didn't really happen for him. But I think, that Purdy here could be a high-end backup to a low-end starter depending on, how his development goes. And he couldn't have landed in a better spot, in my opinion, than San Francisco. So it's a really good pick for the 49ers who did need a long-term backup. I know they signed Nate Sudfeld, but Brock Purdy's a better player than Nate Sudfeld day one, in my opinion. So overall, pretty good draft for San Francisco. Just the Ty Davis price pick really kills this because that genuinely was the worst pick in the draft. But they get Burford, who was good value, Tariq Castro Fields, who was really good value, Brock Purdy, who was good value, and even Drake Jackson was kind of a steal in my opinion. It's just kind of their middle, and then Tavis Price, who really kind of kills this draft. But a B+ for the 49ers, really good draft for them. Just, the Ty Davis price pick really just kind of ruins that for me. And then we have the Seattle Seahawks, who, they had an interesting draft, but did not screw up their first pick in Charles Cross, thank God. But they definitely made some Seattle picks in this draft. So starting with Charles Cross, best pass protector in the draft, in my opinion. Easy first pick, ran it up to the podium. Their guards were Stone Forsythe and some other dudes. So instant left tackle starter, going to be a high, floor pass protector with great upside. Obviously his run, blocking is going to be a little bit behind the curve because they just didn't really ask him to do that. a whole lot at Mississippi State, but I really do like Charles Cross. He was my 9th player on the board and was taken 9th, so great value. Then we have Boye Mafe. This was a Seattle pick for me all the way. Boye Mafe was more of like a late 2, early 3 for me, so definitely a reach. He was more of like mid 3 for me. So, with Drake Jackson on the board, with some of the other guys they had on the board, going Boye Mafe was like a total Seattle move in my opinion. I think he does have upside, but I just didn't see him play with any speed to power at all. He has a really, really good cross chop move that will work at the next level, but other than that, he doesn't really have any pass rush moves. He is a good run defender, high motor player, which is, I think, why Seattle really fell in love with him. They really like their high motor players, but I just didn't see it with Boye Mafe, especially over like Drake Jackson and some of the other guys that were taken behind Boye Mafe. Just really didn't make any sense. And then this pick, Kenneth Walker. Like, Pete Carroll couldn't help himself taking a running back in the second round. You have Rashad Penny, who I think in the last 5 games of the season averaged like 125 yards a game. So if you get that version of Rashad Penny, there is absolutely no reason you needed to draft Kenneth Walker because they're similar players, and you brought Rashad Penny on a cheap, like, 1-year, $5 million deal. So why the hell are you taking a running back in the second round? And you have Chris Carson there, who we don't know how the process on his neck's going. I've heard, we don't know if he's going to be ready for training camp or not, but you still have him there. So I don't really understand this pick, except from the standpoint of they don't think Chris Carson's going to get back healthy anytime soon, which if that's true, then that really sucks because Chris Carson's a great player. He's a great dude. But still, man, I know I had a second round grade on Kenneth Walker, but this is early for him. In my opinion, he's going like 4 picks after Breece Hall, and I don't think there's a 4-pick difference between those guys. Breece Hall is special. In my opinion, truly special. I don't know if Kenneth Walker can be special. I'm not saying he can't, but I don't like his vision. He runs to the outside way too much. He is a home run threat. I will give him that. And when he does break through the second level, like, good luck catching him. But honestly, like, this couldn't have been a worse spot for him to land, in my opinion. I just don't see, especially if Chris Carson's healthy, how much he sees the field. And Rashad Penny, when he was healthy last year, was really, really good. So I don't know. I don't understand this pick. But then they come back. Abraham Lucas, this was a phenomenal pick. I have it as great as an A. Abraham Lucas, again, comes from that, Mike Leach tree when Mike Leach was down at Washington State. Super good pass protection from the start. I don't think it's as good as Charles Cross, obviously, but it's really good. His technique's great. His hand placement's great. Kick slide's great. I think his run blocking is similar, if not better, to Charles Cross immediately because they kind of switched up their schemes. So he had to run block a little bit more than Charles Cross did. But, again, I still think he's going to need some time to really pan out as a run blocker, and then his pass pro can obviously get better. But these two will probably be instant starters at tackle, and they're both instant upgrades. So very, very good pick in my opinion. We moved to Kobe Bryant, who I thought was a 5th-round guy, a little bit early, but does fit their scheme. I don't think he has elite upside or anything. He's not an elite athlete, but he's going to be in there and just be a solid starter for his career, similar to what Byron Maxwell was for the Legion of Boom and for the Dolphins. So I think that's a good pick up for them. Was the Thorpe Award winner at Cincinnati last year. So we'll see if he can translate better than people think he can. I think he's just going to be a solid starter. Like I said, Byron Maxwell for the rest of his career. And then Tariq Woolen, who was a freaking absolute stud of an athlete. He tested super well, but I think there was way too much hype on Tariq Woolen. I thought this was around where he was going to go. I had a 5th to a 6th on him, so good pick for the Seahawks here. He's just super, super stiff and tight in the hips, which is why he's falling this far. I think you have absolute elite upside with him, but it's just, can you unlock that with his tight hips and everything else? He has the athletic capabilities of being that, but he's a receiver convert, hasn't been playing the position for that long, so he's definitely going to need some time. His zone IQ is not quite as high as like a Kobe Bryant, so he's going to need to, definitely improve in that scenario. Then they grabbed Tyrek Smith, who, again, this was a good pick. I had a 4th to a 5th round grade on him. I think he's going to be a high motor player, early down edge defender, and then develop as a pass rusher later on. I think this was honestly a better pick than the Boye Mafe one. So really good pick there. And then they steal Beau Melton in the 7th round. Like, why is Beau Melton going in the 7th round? I think this is actually a good scheme fit for him too, as he's a vertical, like, slant guy threat. So I actually really like this pickup. Might be their wide receiver 3 ahead of Dwayne Eskridge. We'll see how that works out. But I really like Beau Melton here. I think he can be a solid player. Look, this dude, I know he went to Rutgers, and I know you're like, where is the production? But this dude was a really good football player coming out of high school. I think he was a 4 or 5 star prospect with offers from Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame. He just chose to stay close to home at Rutgers. I think both his parents went there, and he's a New Jersey kid. So similar to like the Stephon Diggs situation where he had offers from anywhere he wanted to play in the country and chose to stay close to home to Maryland. So, there's that too. And then Tariq Young from Lenore Ryan's kind of your poor man's DK Metcalf. So he's DK's backup if DK were to ever get hurt or anything. So, overall, I think they did a good job. Their 2nd round picks really hurt this draft. But I think the 2 tackles they got were really good picks. And then they add some corner, edge, and receiver depth later in the draft as well. So my final grade for this is a B. Good draft for Seattle. Not great, but good draft. They definitely addressed their needs, picked up some depth where they needed depth. So overall, a good draft, but not anything super spectacular. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the conclusion to my NFC draft grades. So stay tuned for the AFC. Those will be coming out next week when I get back home and I'm able to record them and everything. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you keep following the series. So we will be inactive for the next couple days as I will be going home. But thanks for watching again, everybody. I really appreciate all your support. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Spend some time with your moms on Mother's Day. And peace.